This video is going to explain how to find multiples of a number. So a multiple is found when you multiply one number by another. And multiples of a certain number are like counting by that number. For example, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. These are all multiples. These are all multiples of 2 because 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 4 is 8, 2 times 5 is 10. So you have multiplied 2 by another number, and the answer that you get is a multiple of 2. If 2 can divide into these numbers, then that number is a multiple of 2. For example, if I said 20, is 20 a multiple of 2? Well, the way you would test that, you would say, can 2 be divided into 20? And yes, it can. It can go in 10 times. So 2 times 10 equals 20. So that means that 20 is a multiple of 2. So let's look at this next one. Here we are, looks like we're counting by threes, or we are finding multiples of 3. 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. So actually, these 5 numbers right here are the first 5 multiples of 3. And the reason that we call them the first 5 multiples of 3 is because we multiplied by 1, then we multiplied 3 by 2, and then 3 by 3, and 3 by 4, and 3 by 5. So the way that you find out a multiple is you ask one of 2 different questions. You could say, will 3 go into this number an even amount without having a remainder? Or you can say 3 times what will give me this number? So 3 times 2 will give you 6. So that means 6 is a multiple of 3. Or you could just reverse that question, because remember that division and multiplication are the opposites of each other. We could say, will 3 divide into 6 evenly without having a remainder? And yes, it will, 2 times. All right? So if you were asked to find the first 5 multiples of 5, always start at the beginning. And when I say that, I mean start with the number 1 and say 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. And 5 times 5 is 25. So these are the first 5 multiples of 5. The first multiple of a number is always going to be the number itself, because you are multiplying by 1. So if we're trying to find the first 5 multiples of 7, start at the beginning. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is, I hope you said 21. 7 times 4, 28. 7 times 5, 35. So these are the first 5 multiples of 7. Now we could go on and on. I could ask you to find the first 20 multiples of 7, and then you would go on. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 7, 49. 7 times 8, 56. All the way up until you did 7 times 20 is 140. So it just depends on what you're asked for. I know today's assignment is going to ask you to find the first 5 multiples of a number. So let's find the first 5 multiples of 9. I'm going to see if you can find them, and then I'm going to type them in. And by find, I just mean figure them out. So I hope you said 9, 18, 27, 36, 45. 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, 9 times 4, 9 times 5. All right. How about the first 5 multiples of 11? 11 times 1 is 11, times 2 is 22, times 3 is 33, times 4 is 44, times 5 is 55. Now, you might be asked to find multiples of larger numbers. There are multiples of every number in the world. They don't just have to be numbers that are on our multiplication chart. That only goes up through 12 times 12. So 15 times 1 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. 15 times 3, 45. 15 times 4, 60. 15 times 5, 75. These are the first 5 multiples of 15. You could go with even some strange number. If I said, what are the first 5 multiples of 19? You would have to do a little thinking, maybe some math problems, but the first multiple of 19 is itself, so 19. The second one is going to be 38. The third one will be 57. The fourth one, 76. And the fifth one, 95. So you can find multiples of any number in the world. And the way you do that is you multiply this number by another number. Or if I asked you this, if I went to 9 and I said, well, is 108 a multiple of 9? You would say, can I say 9 times anything will give me 108? And you would say, yes, 12. 9 times 12 would be 108. So 108 is a multiple of 9. Or you could say, well, 9 go into 108 an even number of times without a remainder. And by even, I mean that you won't have a remainder. I don't mean that your answer has to be an even number. It just cannot have a remainder. So you would know that 9 could go into 108 12 times. So that is the beginning of what we're going to be learning about multiples.